She hid the frozen omegas. By dawn, the Lycan King came knocking. The discovery that changed everything. I found my husband's second wedding invitation on our kitchen counter. My name wasn't on it. The cream-colored envelope sat there like a coiled snake, elegant script announcing the union of Alpha King Dmitry Volkov and Lady Serafina Blackthorne. The date was 3 days away. We'd been married for 6 months. My hands trembled as I held the invitation, expensive paper crinkling under my grip. The morning sunlight streaming through our penthouse windows suddenly felt cold. I was Maya Chen, a nobody Omega who'd somehow caught the eye of the most powerful Alpha King in the Northern Territories. Our whirlwind romance had felt like a fairy tale, midnight drives, stolen kisses, promises whispered against my skin. All lies. You weren't supposed to see that. Dimitri's voice cut through my shock. I spun around. He stood in the doorway of his study, 6'4" of lethal grace in a black suit that probably cost more than my family's annual income. His silver eyes, the ones that had once looked at me with such intensity I'd believed I mattered, were now cold and distant. What is this? My voice cracked despite my attempts to sound strong. Business. He walked to the bar, pouring himself scotch at 9 in the morning. Serafina comes from the Blackthorne bloodline. The marriage will unite our territories and strengthen my position against the Eastern Pax. We're married. I held up my left hand where a simple gold band circled my finger. Nothing like the massive diamond ring I'd seen in magazines on Serafina's hand. Dmitri didn't even glance at it. That marriage was never registered with the council. Legally, you're just my companion. The word hit me like a physical blow. Companion? Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Maya. He finally looked at me, and I saw something flicker in those silver depths, regret. Pity? It was gone before I could identify it. You knew what you were getting into. An Omega like you, marrying someone like me? Be realistic. The truth behind closed doors. I'd been realistic. Too realistic. That's why I'd never told him about the baby growing inside me. My hand instinctively moved to my still flat stomach. 8 weeks along. I'd been waiting for the right moment to tell him, imagining his face lighting up, maybe some of that coldness finally melting away. What a fool I'd been. I want you gone by tomorrow, Dmitri continued, his tone as casual as if he were discussing the weather. I've arranged an apartment for you in the city. You'll receive a monthly stipend, generous enough that you'll never need to work. You're buying me off? Anger finally burned through the shock, hot and purifying. I'm being practical. He swirled his scotch. You can't stay here. Serafina moves in after the wedding. It would be awkward. Awkward. I laughed, a harsh sound that didn't sound like me at all. Your secret wife living under the same roof as your public wife would be awkward. Got it. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Don't push me, Maya. You have no idea what's really going on here. Then tell me. I moved toward him, desperate to understand. Tell me why you married me if it meant nothing. Why you? The door burst open. A woman swept in, and I knew immediately who she was. Lady Serafina Blackthorne looked like she'd stepped out of a Renaissance painting, tall, statuesque, with cascading auburn hair and emerald eyes that assessed me with cold calculation. Dmitri, darling, we need to discuss the seating arrangements for, she stopped, her perfect lips curving into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Oh. The Omega is still here. The way she said Omega made it sound like a disease. Maya was just leaving, Dmitri said, not looking at me. Actually, Serafina purred, moving to stand beside Dmitri with a possessiveness that made my skin crawl. I wanted to thank her. It must have been so difficult, keeping my future husband entertained while I was finalizing our merger. You performed your duties admirably. The impossible choice. My duties. Like I was hired help. Like the past 6 months of my life, the laughter, the late-night conversations, the moments when I'd sworn I saw something real in Dimitri's eyes, had all been a job. "I need a moment alone with Dimitri," I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Serafina's laugh was like breaking glass. "Oh, sweetie. Those moments are over. But don't worry, I'm sure Dimitri will set you up nicely. He's generous with his discarded toys." "Serafina." Dimitri's voice held a warning. "What?" "It's the truth." She turned those cruel eyes back to me. "You do understand, don't you? An Omega marrying an Alpha King? That was never going to last. We have standards to maintain." "The baby." I needed to tell him about the baby. Surely that would change things. But looking at Serafina's triumphant smirk and Dimitri's carefully blank expression, reality crashed over me. A baby would just be one more complication. One more thing for him to manage, to pay off, to hide away. My child deserved better than being a secret. "Fine," I heard myself say. "I'll go." Relief flickered across Dimitri's face, and that hurt more than anything else. He was relieved to be rid of me. "Good girl," Serafina cooed. "Now run along. The adults have a wedding to plan." I turned to leave, but Dimitri's voice stopped me. "Maya." Hope flared stupidly in my chest. I turned back. "Leave your key on the counter." The hope died. Welcome to my channel Crownfire Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The moment everything changed. I packed in a daze. 6 months of my life fit into 2 suitcases. I'd arrived here with nothing, and I was leaving with barely more. The apartment Dimitri had arranged was nice, probably nicer than anything I could afford, but it felt like a cage made of his guilt money. I was putting the last of my clothes into a suitcase when I heard voices from Dimitri's study. The door was slightly ajar. "You're sure she doesn't know?" Serafina's voice, lower now, more serious. "She knows nothing." Dimitri sounded tired. "Maya is innocent in all this. Keep her that way." "Innocent?" Serafina laughed. "Is that what you call it? Dimitri, you married her to hide the fact that you can't produce an heir." "The curse." "Keep your voice down," he hissed. I pressed closer to the door, my heart pounding. "The doctors confirmed it," Serafina continued. "The Volkov bloodline curse. You're sterile, darling. That's why you need me, my family has the counter-charm. After our marriage, after I perform the ritual, you'll finally be able to father the heir your council is demanding." Sterile. The word echoed in my mind. Dimitri couldn't have children. But I was pregnant. My hand moved to my stomach as the implications crashed over me. If Dimitri was sterile, then the baby I was carrying couldn't be his. But I'd never been with anyone else. I'd been faithful, devoted, completely his. Unless. A memory surfaced. 6 weeks ago, I'd gotten violently ill after dinner. I'd blacked out, woken up in bed with no memory of the night. Dimitri had said I'd had too much wine. But I'd only had 1 glass. "What about the Omega?" Serafina asked. "What if someone realizes you married her first?" "No one will. The only witness was my brother, and Victor won't talk." Dimitri paused. "Besides, Maya is loyal. She won't cause trouble." "His brother. Victor." My knees nearly gave out. Victor, who'd been so kind to me. Victor, who'd brought me soup when I was sick. Victor, who'd stayed with me that night because Dimitri was away on business. No. No, it couldn't be. But the pieces were falling into place with horrifying clarity. The night I couldn't remember. The pregnancy that shouldn't exist. Victor's guilty looks whenever I saw him lately. "She's pretty," Serafina mused. "For an Omega. What did you see in her?" "It doesn't matter what I saw," Dimitri said, and something in his voice made me freeze. "She was necessary. A cover, so the council wouldn't discover the curse. Now that I have you, I don't need her anymore. The secret that would destroy us all. I backed away from the door, my mind reeling. I'd been used. Not just discarded, used. The whole marriage, the romance, everything had been a lie to hide Dimitri's curse. And somehow, during that elaborate deception, I'd been drugged and violated by his own brother. The baby in my womb was Victor's. I pressed my hand to my mouth, fighting nausea. Did Dimitri know? Had they planned this together, Victor fathering the heir Dimitri couldn't produce? Sir? A voice behind me made me spin. It was Marcus, Dimitri's head of security. His dark eyes were sympathetic. Miss Chen, your car is ready. Marcus. I grabbed his arm, desperate. The night 6 weeks ago, when I got sick. Who was here? His eyes flickered. Miss Chen. Please. I need to know. He hesitated, then, Prince Victor was here. He stayed in the guest wing. And you watched the security footage? There isn't any. His jaw tightened. The system mysteriously malfunctioned that night. All cameras were offline for exactly 4 hours. They'd planned it. They'd actually planned it. But Miss Chen, Marcus continued quietly, I did see Prince Victor leaving your room the next morning. He looked disturbed. I released his arm, my decision crystallizing. Thank you, Marcus. Ma'am? Are you all right? No, I said honestly. But I will be. I left the penthouse with my 2 suitcases and 1 life-destroying secret. As the elevator descended, I made a call on the burner phone I'd bought last week. Paranoia had at least given me that much foresight. It's me, I said when the line connected. I need your help. Maya? The woman's voice was surprised. I thought you'd cut ties with us. I did. But things have changed. I looked at my reflection in the elevator's mirrored walls. I barely recognized the woman staring back, eyes too bright, face too pale, jaw set with new determination. You wanted information on the Volkov family? I have something better than information. What? The elevator doors opened to the parking garage. I could see my car waiting, engine running, Marcus's kind eyes watching from a distance to make sure I got out safely. I stepped into the car, closed the door, and spoke the words that would start a war. I have the Alpha King's heir. Silence on the other end. Then, you're pregnant with Dmitri Volkov's child? No, I said, starting the engine. But he doesn't know that. And before I'm done, that secret will destroy his kingdom. As I drove away from the life I'd thought I wanted, my hand rested on my stomach. This baby, innocent in all of this, would be born into a world I was about to burn down. But first, I needed to understand exactly what had been done to me. And then, God help them all, I would make every single one of them pay. Behind me, in the penthouse I'd once called home, Dmitri stood at the window watching my car disappear into traffic. He didn't know I'd overheard everything. He didn't know about the baby. He didn't know that his loyal Omega had just become his most dangerous enemy. The Alpha King's secret bride. The woman who knew too much. The address led me to a penthouse in the financial district, sleek, modern, and screaming money. I'd called the one person who'd offered help 6 months ago, back when I'd first gotten involved with Dmitri. The person I'd foolishly ignored. Elena Frost opened the door herself. The alpha female was devastating, platinum blonde hair, ice blue eyes, and the kind of power that radiated from her skin like heat from asphalt. She'd been Dimitri's rival for years, controlling the Western territories while he ruled the North. Maya Chen. Her smile was predatory. You look like hell. Thanks. I pushed past her into the apartment. I need information, protection, and revenge. In that order. Elena's laugh was genuine. I like you already. Wine. I'm pregnant. Her hand froze halfway to the wine bottle. Those ice blue eyes snapped to mine with laser focus. Dimitri's? That's complicated. Complicated how? She abandoned the wine, pouring herself vodka instead. You're either carrying the Alpha King's heir or you're not. Which is it? I told her everything. The secret marriage, the curse, Victor, the night I couldn't remember. With every word, Elena's expression grew more predatory, more pleased. Oh, Maya. She set down her glass. You've just handed me ammunition that could topple an empire. I don't want to topple anything yet. I sank into her leather couch, exhaustion hitting me like a wave. I want to know what really happened that night. I want proof. And I want to understand why. The brother's confession. Viktor Volkov is weak, Elena said, pulling out a tablet and tapping rapidly. He's always lived in Dimitri's shadow. My sources say he's been in love with you since the day Dimitri brought you home. Love? The word tasted bitter. You don't drug someone you love. No, you don't. Elena showed me the tablet. It displayed a photograph of Victor entering a medical facility. But you might if your brother threatened to kill you unless you provided an heir to continue the bloodline. My blood ran cold. Dimitri ordered Victor to rape me? Not in those words, I'm sure. Dimitri is too clever for that. Elena scrolled through more images. But Victor has been seeing a therapist at this clinic for the past 2 months. Extreme guilt, anxiety attacks, self-harm. Whatever happened that night, it's destroying him. I stared at Victor's photograph. He looked haunted, shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there before. I need to talk to him. Bad idea. Elena, I need to hear it from him. Was I conscious? Did I consent? Did he? My voice broke. I need to know if what happened was rape or if I'm missing memories of something else. Elena studied me for a long moment. You're stronger than you look. I'm an Omega who survived 6 months with an Alpha King who only married me to hide his curse. I met her eyes. I'm stronger than anyone looks. The midnight meeting. Elena arranged the meeting for that night at a neutral location, a private club she owned where the supernatural elite gathered. Victor arrived looking like a ghost, his usual confidence shattered. Maya. His voice cracked when he saw me. God, Maya, I'm so sorry. We were in a private room, soundproofed and secure. Elena waited outside. It was just Victor and me and 6 months of lies between us. Tell me what happened, I said quietly. That night. All of it. Victor's hand shook as he poured himself a drink. Dimitri called me to the penthouse. You were already unconscious in bed. He said, he stopped, swallowed hard. He said the curse was killing him. That the council was demanding an heir or they'd remove him from power. That he'd found a way to have one, but he needed my help. Your DNA, I whispered. He said you'd agreed. That you understood the situation and wanted to help but couldn't go through with it while conscious. That you'd taken something to make you sleep through it. Victor's eyes were tortured. I believed him, Maya. I swear I believed you'd consented. But you knew I couldn't have. Anger flared hot in my chest. An Omega doesn't just agree to be used as a surrogate without paperwork, without legal protection. I know. Victor's face crumpled. I realized it the next morning. The way you looked at me, so confused and innocent. You didn't know. You didn't remember. And when I confronted Dimitri, he said it was done and I needed to forget it happened or he'd make sure I never saw daylight again. The impossible truth. But that's not all, is it? I moved closer, reading his body language. There's something else you're not telling me. Victor's laugh was broken. You always were too perceptive. He downed his drink in one gulp. I couldn't do it, Maya. I went into that room, and I looked at you lying there, so vulnerable and trusting, and I couldn't. My heart stopped. What? I told Dimitri I wouldn't do it. That I'd rather die than violate you like that. Victor's eyes met mine, desperate for me to believe him. We fought. He beat me unconscious. When I woke up the next morning, you were still asleep, and Dmitri said it was done. That I'd completed the task while drunk and didn't remember. Then the realization hit me like ice water. Dmitri. I think so. But he's sterile, Maya. The curse makes it impossible. Unless the curse is a lie. My mind was racing now, pieces clicking into place. Unless Dmitri invented the curse story to cover something else. Some other reason he needed a secret heir. Victor stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying your brother is the greatest liar I've ever met. And I'm going to prove it. The medical records. Back at Elena's penthouse, I paced while she made calls. Victor had given us access to the family's private medical records, his way of trying to atone. Got it, Elena said an hour later, her face illuminated by her computer screen. Dimitri's medical files. And Maya? The curse is real. My stomach dropped. What? He's been sterile since he was 18. Some kind of hereditary condition in the Volkov bloodline. Elena's fingers flew across the keyboard. But here's what's interesting, he's been seeing fertility specialists for the past year. Experimental treatments. Gene therapy. And 3 months ago, one of them noted significant improvement in sperm viability. 3 months ago. A month before that mysterious night. He got the treatment to work, I breathed. He could father a child after all. But he'd already married you as a cover story for the curse, Elena continued. If he suddenly produced an heir after claiming to be sterile, questions would be asked. The council would investigate. They might discover the treatment, consider it weakness. So he drugged me and raped me, then blamed Victor. Rage flooded through me, so intense I saw red. He let Victor believe he'd violated me. He let me believe. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. Morning sickness and horror made for a vicious combination. The proposal. When I came out, Elena was waiting with water and a cold cloth. The baby is definitely Dimitri's. DNA testing will prove it. That's your leverage, Maya. That's how you destroy him. Not yet. I wiped my mouth, mind clearing. If I expose this now, he'll find a way to spin it. Make himself the victim, claim I seduced him, that I'm lying about the circumstances. The council loves him. They'll believe him over an Omega. So what's your plan? I looked at my reflection in Elena's mirror. My eyes were red, my face pale, but underneath the exhaustion was something new. Something hard and unyielding. I'm going to the wedding. Elena's eyebrows shot up. You're what? I'm going to watch him marry Serafina. I'm going to smile and be gracious and play the part of the discarded Omega who knows her place. I turned to face her. And then, when the moment is right, when he's most vulnerable, when his kingdom is most secure and he thinks he's won, I'm going to burn his entire world to ash. That's a long game, Elena warned. Months, maybe years. Can you wait that long? I touched my stomach, where Dimitri's child grew. The child he didn't know existed. The heir that could legitimize his rule or destroy it, depending on how I played this. I'm an Omega, I said softly. We're patient. We're survivors. And we never, ever forget. The unexpected ally. The knock on Elena's door came at midnight. Marcus, Dimitri's head of security, stood in the hallway looking grim. Miss Chen, you need to come with me. My heart raced. Did Dmitri send you? No. Marcus glanced over his shoulder. Prince Victor is in the hospital. He tried to kill himself an hour ago. He's asking for you. The hospital was private, exclusive, designed for supernatural elite who needed discretion. Victor lay in a bed surrounded by machines, his wrists wrapped in white bandages. When he saw me, tears slipped down his cheeks. I'm sorry, he whispered. Maya, I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have. Victor. I took his hand carefully, avoiding the bandages. It wasn't your fault. Dmitri manipulated both of us. He's a monster. Victor's grip tightened weakly. And I'm going to help you destroy him. You're in no condition. I have records. Recordings. Video evidence of Dmitri's crimes going back years. Victor's eyes burned with sudden intensity. Things that would make the council execute him. I've been gathering it all, insurance in case he ever turned on me. It's yours, Maya. All of it. Make him pay. Before I could respond, alarms blared. Victor's machines went haywire. He's crashing. A nurse rushed in, pushing me aside. His heart. I stumbled back as medical staff swarmed the room. Through the chaos, I saw Victor's eyes lock on mine one last time. His lips moved, forming words I had to strain to hear. The vault. Penthouse. Code is your birthday. Then the machines flatlined. The point of no return. Elena drove me back to Dmitri's penthouse at 2 a.m. I still had keys, I hadn't left them on the counter after all. One small rebellion that was about to pay off. The penthouse was dark and empty. Dmitri was staying at Serafina's estate until the wedding. I moved through rooms I'd once called home, seeing them differently now. This wasn't a home. It was a beautiful cage where Dmitri kept his secrets. The vault was hidden behind a painting in his study. I entered my birthday, the one day Dmitri had pretended to celebrate, buying me flowers and jewelry while planning my disposal. The vault opened. Inside were files, hard drives, and a single USB drive labeled insurance. I grabbed everything, stuffing it into a bag. As I turned to leave, I saw it, a leather journal sitting on top. I opened it to the first page. Dmitri's handwriting, neat and precise. Day 1 of Operation Maven, successfully identified Omega candidate. Maya Chen, 23, no family, no connections. Perfect. My hands trembled as I flipped through pages detailing every moment of our romance. Every date planned, every word calculated. Near the end, one entry made my blood run cold. The Omega is becoming problematic. She's falling in love. Need to accelerate timeline. Note, consider permanent solution after heir is secured. Permanent solution. He'd planned to kill me. I was holding the journal when the lights blazed on. Hello, Maya. Dmitri's voice came from the doorway. He stood there in casual clothes, silver eyes gleaming dangerously. I've been waiting for you to make your move. The Alpha King's secret bride. The trap springs shut. How long have you been standing there? My voice was steady despite the terror coursing through my veins. The bag with Victor's evidence felt impossibly heavy in my hands. Long enough. Dmitri stepped into the study, closing the door behind him with a soft click that sounded like a cell door slamming. Did you really think I wouldn't monitor my own vault? The second you entered that code, alerts went to my phone. He moved closer, and I saw something in his silver eyes I'd never seen before, genuine fury barely leashed. Victor's dead because of you. Victor's dead because of you. The words exploded out of me. You tortured him with guilt over something he didn't even do. You made him believe he raped me when it was you all along. Dmitri's face went carefully blank. I don't know what lies Victor told you. I read your journal, Dmitri. Every calculated date, every manipulated moment. Operation Maven. That's what I was to you. A mission. I threw the journal at his feet. And that note about a permanent solution after the heir was secured? Were you going to kill me? Make it look like an accident? The Alpha King's confession. For a long moment, Dmitri said nothing. Then, slowly, he picked up the journal. You were never supposed to read this. That's your response? Hysteria bubbled in my throat. Not denial? Not even a decent lie? What would be the point? He set the journal on his desk with careful precision. You already know the truth. Yes, Maya. I chose you specifically because you were nobody. No family to ask questions, no pack to demand justice. You were perfect for what I needed. The casual cruelty of it stole my breath. But you weren't supposed to matter. For the first time, emotion cracked through his control. You were supposed to be forgettable. A means to an end. Instead, he stopped, jaw clenching. Instead I what? I demanded. Instead I fell in love with you? Made you feel guilty? Ruined your perfect plan? Instead you made me feel something I swore I'd never feel again. The words came out like a roar. Dimitri's eyes flashed that dangerous alpha red. Do you have any idea how many people want me dead, Maya? How many rivals would use anyone I cared about as a weapon against me? So you decided to use me first, I said bitterly. Yes. The admission was flat, final. I used you. And when the council started demanding proof of an heir, when Serafina offered the counter-charm that would break my curse, I planned to discard you. The permanent solution was going to be a generous settlement far away from here where you'd live comfortably and forget all about me. You expect me to believe that? I don't expect you to believe anything. Dimitri's shoulders sagged slightly. But it's the truth. I never planned to kill you, Maya. I'm a monster, but I'm not that kind of monster. The revelation that changes everything. Then what about the night you raped me? I stepped closer, letting him see the fury in my eyes. What kind of monster does that make you? I didn't rape you. His voice was quiet, dangerous. That night, you were sick. Genuinely sick, food poisoning from the restaurant we'd gone to. You were delirious, feverish. I put you to bed and called the doctor. Liar. I was pregnant a month later. Because we'd been having sex for 5 months already. Dimitri exploded. You conceived naturally, Maya. During one of the dozens of times we were together. The timeline matches perfectly if you actually do the math. I froze. My mind raced back through dates, through memories. He was right, the timing could work for multiple encounters. The doctor had said I was 8 weeks along when I'd gotten the test 3 weeks ago. That would put conception at. The night in the mountains, I whispered. When we stayed at that cabin. Yes. Dimitri's eyes softened fractionally. You conceived our child the old-fashioned way. No drugs, no violation. Just us. But Victor said. Victor was drunk that night and I asked him to check on you while I dealt with a council emergency. He sat with you for an hour, then passed out in the guest room. When he woke up the next morning, he panicked because he couldn't remember details and thought. Dimitri's jaw tightened. I told him the truth later, but by then his guilt had already taken root. He convinced himself something terrible had happened. The curse was real. The fertility treatments, I said slowly, pieces clicking together differently now. Elena found records. The treatments worked. Dimitri moved to the window, staring out at the city lights. 3 months before that cabin trip, I got the results. I could father children again. But I'd built an entire infrastructure around being sterile, the marriage to you, the arrangement with Serafina, the council's sympathy. If I suddenly announced I was fertile and you were pregnant, people would ask questions. So you threw me away to marry Serafina and maintain the lie. Yes. He turned back to me, and I saw something raw in his expression. And it's been the worst mistake of my life. Don't. I held up a hand, backing away. Don't you dare try to manipulate me now with fake sentiment. It's not fake. His shout made me jump. Maya, I've been miserable for 3 days. Serafina is brilliant and powerful and everything a queen should be. And I can't stand the sight of her because every time I look at her, I see your face. I hear your laugh. I remember the way you'd steal my coffee in the mornings and how you'd argue with me about politics even though you knew it annoyed me. Dimitri. I love you. The words hung in the air between us like a grenade. I didn't want to. I tried not to. But somewhere between the calculated dates and the fake romance, it became real for me too. The ultimate choice. I stared at the man who'd destroyed my life and rebuilt it and destroyed it again. You love me. Yes. So what? You'll call off the wedding to Serafina? Claim me publicly? Let the council know you lied about everything? I laughed harshly. We both know you won't do that. You love power more than you could ever love me. You're right. The admission shocked me. I won't give up my throne. Not even for you. Then we have nothing to discuss. I hefted the bag with Victor's evidence. I'm leaving. And if you try to stop me, you're pregnant with my child. Dimitri's voice went cold, calculated. You think I'll let you walk away with my heir? Try to take this baby from me and I'll release everything Victor gave me. Every crime, every corruption, every dirty secret. I met his eyes, unflinching. I'll destroy you, Dimitri. Even if it destroys me too. We faced each other across the study, predator and prey, king and omega, two people who'd somehow fallen in love through a web of lies and manipulation. There's another option, Dimitri said slowly. One where we both get what we want. I'm listening. The devil's bargain. Marry me. Publicly this time. Dimitri moved closer, his intensity like a physical force. I'll break the arrangement with Serafina. Tell the council the truth, that the curse is broken, that you're carrying my heir, that you're the queen I choose. And what do I get besides a lifetime with a man who used me? Power. His smile was sharp, dangerous. You keep Victor's evidence. All of it. If I ever betray you again, if I ever hurt you, you release it and watch my kingdom burn. We'll rule together, Maya, as equals. You'll have the resources to protect yourself and our child. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving that what started as manipulation became the realest thing I've ever known. That's insane. That's marriage. Dimitri cupped my face with surprising gentleness. We're already bound by lies, by this child, by feelings neither of us wanted. Why not make something true out of all this deception? I should have said no. Should have run as far and fast as I could. But looking into those silver eyes, I saw the truth. We were both trapped in a web of our own making. Him by his need for power, me by my stupid, stubborn love for a monster. Conditions, I said. I want everything in writing. I want legal protections. And I want Serafina to hear from your own lips why you're breaking the engagement. Done. And Dimitri? I grabbed his tie, pulling him down to my level. If you ever lie to me again, I won't just release Victor's evidence. I'll make sure you lose everything, including me and this child. We'll disappear so completely you'll spend the rest of your life searching. His smile was proud, possessive. There's my queen. The wedding that shocked a kingdom. 3 weeks later, I stood in a cathedral wearing a gown that cost more than my old apartment. The council members filled the pews, their shock and outrage barely concealed. Serafina sat in the front row, her face a mask of icy fury. Dimitri had been true to his word, confessing everything to her publicly. Elena Frost stood as my maid of honor, looking far too pleased with the chaos. And Dimitri waited at the altar in a black suit, silver eyes locked on me with an intensity that made my knees weak. Dearly beloved, the officiant began, we are gathered to witness the union of Alpha King Dmitry Volkov and Maya Chin. As I walked down the aisle, I touched the USB drive hidden in my bouquet, Victor's final gift, my insurance policy, my weapon of last resort. Dimitri took my hand when I reached him. Still have the evidence? Always, I whispered back. Good. He lifted my hand to his lips. I'd be disappointed if you trusted me completely. The ceremony was beautiful and terrible and perfect. When Dimitri kissed me, sealing our union before the council and the world, I tasted lies and truth in equal measure. The epilogue, 1 year later. Our daughter was born with Dimitri's silver eyes and my dark hair. We named her Victoria, after the grandmother I'd lost young. Dimitri held her with a tenderness that still surprised me, this monster who'd learned to love. The council is calling for a vote, he said one night, our baby asleep between us. They want to strip my title for the lies I told. Will they succeed? I asked, already knowing the answer. Not if you speak for me at tomorrow's hearing. He looked at me, vulnerable in a way only I ever saw. Will you? I thought about everything we'd been through, the lies, the pain, the twisted path that had led us here. I thought about the evidence I still kept in a safety deposit box, my eternal trump card. Yes, I said finally. But Dimitri? If you ever make me regret this, you'll destroy me. I know. He pulled me close, careful of our sleeping daughter. And I'll deserve it. Outside our window, the city glittered with possibility and danger. Inside, a monster and an omega built something fragile and fierce, a love forged in deception but tempered into truth. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. But it was ours. The final truth. 6 months after that, I stood before the council with Victor's evidence. Not to expose Dimitri, but to expose Serafina. She'd been the one orchestrating everything, manipulating Dimitri's curse, planning Victor's death, trying to destabilize the kingdom. The Blackthorn family wanted the throne, I announced, displaying documents Victor had died protecting. And they were willing to destroy the Volkovs to get it. As Serafina was dragged away in chains, Dimitri stood beside me, our daughter in his arms. You could have used that evidence against me. I know. I took our baby, kissing her soft head. But you were right about one thing, we're stronger together than apart. Even when we started with lies? Especially then. I smiled. Because we chose to make it true. And in the end, the Omega who was supposed to be nobody became the queen who saved a kingdom, not through deception, but through the most dangerous weapon of all, forgiveness tempered with power. Maya transformed from victim to queen, wielding love and leverage in equal measure. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destruction, it's taking everything they tried to deny you and making it yours.